Jean Tewksbury, a respected Eastern panther and wildlife researcher. Her primary focus is pursuing Maine's mystery cat. She also investigates and researches sightings, reports, and newspaper articles on this topic from other Eastern states. If you've had a sighting or have any information on this subject matter, Jean would like to hear from you. We can find her on Facebook and Instagram. Also, you can send her a direct message via Instagram or Facebook Messenger. Jean Tewksbury is on the trail of the mysterious Eastern Panther. Report your sightings today.
This is Brian Sawyer from Bigfoots of Michigan, and you're listening to Let's Find Out with Diego.
Are you curious about the unknown, the unexplainable? Do you find yourself intrigued by the mysterious and paranormal side of our world? Join us on an adventure into the world of inexplicable discoveries and investigations that may someday give us the final answer as to what may be behind the veil of reality. The borders of space and time have opened once again, and transmitting from the mountains of West Virginia, it's time once again for Let's Find Out with Diego. The universe is waiting for you.
The borders of space and time have opened once again, and transmitting from the mountains of West Virginia, it's another episode of Let's Find Out with Diego. Thank you for taking this journey with me. On this episode of Let's Find Out, from 8 directions into 8 dimensions, our guests bring you folklore, cryptozoology, monsters and beasts, and the greatest heavy metal find of 2024. And now, one of my favorite things of all space and time. Please welcome to Let's Find Out, the game-changing style of storytelling. This is the rise of Moon Mulligan. My friends, welcome to Let's Find Out. I've been looking forward to this, and I've been geeking out on your music for many weeks now.
Diego. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man, it's interesting because we were talking before the interview about how I found out about your music, and you guys are very mysterious, which is a great thing. But for our friends and listeners of Let's Find Out, they're going to be new in discovering Moon Mulligan. Could you please introduce yourselves and what is your part in the band?
Yeah, what's up? I'm Patrick. Actually, me and it started out sort of as just me fiddling with a guitar and some recording gear and stuff. But honestly, I met Old Cracker, and we started collabing on it. It's kind of, I consider it an equal part, both of us. And what it is a metal band, but kind of the way that we decided to approach it, us both having been in bands before, that's actually how we met way back, probably 2010, 2011, just playing metal shows out in the boonies somewhere. But basically, me and him met. We've stayed in touch this whole time. I sent him some demos over, real sludgy, sort of stoner doom sort of ideas, and he jumped right on it. I mean, he sent me some ideas back, and ever since then, we've sort of just been working on stuff. But like a lot of bands will put out music, and they'll work for months, maybe even years on an EP. And unfortunately, the way that it works, if you just release music out on a brand new account, it's really difficult for anybody to hear it. And so we had the idea of, I like making videos, we like doing edits, stuff like that. We're into sort of cryptids, paranormal, stuff like that. So we decided, why don't we start incorporating some of this music ideas in with sort of our storytelling, our interest in these creatures or this phenomena. And it just kind of, that's what we're doing. We're just kind of putting all those things in one basket. And so I pretty much come up with a lot of the music, and then Old Cracker here can introduce himself. He's our vocalist.
So Patrick hit me up with this stuff, and it just psyched only because of his background. Him and his brothers and his cousin had a fucking awesome band that should have been signed. Silent Running. I am going to give them a great plug because fucking Silent Running is fucking an outstanding band. It's incredible. That put out fucking awesome, high quality music in a time when everybody needed it and everybody loved it. Even, okay, so you're talking about your wife earlier. Even my daughters like fucking Silent Running, And so you think you got a wife trying to get in to buy on your deal, kids buying in on something is even different. But what's cool is that we're hitting on something that the youth even like, we're telling a different story about different things and things that really happened to us too, that's like thrown in, and it's just like a good time. But we're storytellers. So really truly Patrick and myself are storytellers. We come from way different like ideas and how we did it, but we came together through our metal scene, so booking shows and that kind of deal and working together. But we realized that we're both storytellers. So for him to throw it on me, he threw it at me. I had stuff to him that night, and so it was just something that meshed. We check in with each other a lot. We work a lot. There's always this thing with vocals and guitar players, and he started off actually bass, which is, there's definitely something with vocal and bass players because bass carries some beat, and I'm somewhat beat deaf. So for me to get in with a guitar player has fucking been a dream come true. So it was fucking cool. And we just clicked, man. It was just something that was just brought together and created over time. And like we talked about networking is the most important thing in any of this kind of stuff, because that's what it is. You make these contacts and then you do your stuff full circle, and then you start doing stuff again, and then you have friends and associates and people want to do something. So that, like Patrick said, the biggest thing is everybody wants to jump in with their music. They jump in there and just give it away, and we don't mind giving it away, but we want to give it away to people that really want to listen, So we decided that we're going to tell our story. We have a whole huge story to tell that's like badass and medley, and so we're going to tell it. And this is just how we decided to do it.
No, and there's out of what you both said here early on the show, there's a lot to unpack there, because I saw a lot of words and things that I want to touch on.
Yeah, sorry for the long intro.
Yeah.
No, that's perfect. The less talking I do, the better, actually. No. So talking about music and music industry, there's a lot of changes been going on in the last few decades. And I don't know that part of it. Only as a fan and a consumer is what I know, what I've read. So you're talking about bands that take a long time to release a record or an EP, and they have to go out there and market it. Back in the day, it was almost essential for you to have a record label and their budgets and their marketing and all this PR in order to push the product out. Now, with more bands releasing things by themselves, it seems like that mountain, it's a little hard to climb, but it seems like it's paying off for a lot of other bands. So how are you guys managing this?
Well, we just started with this. And so that's kind of the fun part about it. We've done it the old-fashioned way. Like, going out every weekend that you have off of work and playing gigs and hauling heavy gear in the middle of the night, sometimes in the rain, and hoping that somebody buys a t-shirt. That's the way that it has been done. And for this thing, considering we kind of wanted to do it mostly online anyways, and just sort of drum up some interest for, if there is even any interest in what we do. So then they will have a base to put the music out to when the music comes. So like we have the songs and everything, but when the music is released, hopefully by then there'll be, like old Cracker just said, people there waiting for it. And that's kind of the idea. But even if you just like one video, you like a riff idea we did with some pictures of Sasquatch or whatever, that's cool too. I mean, there's plenty of stuff like that we put out as well.
Yeah, we like that short attention span and long attention span. We like both.
Yeah, and also just sort of the creative process for this project is different than anything I've done before. as well, because we started out, we're going to make a song about Sasquatch. You know, that's how it started. Well, now we're making videos about Mothman, but he's an alien Power Ranger from another planet. And that video is out. There's a part 2 coming that will explain more about that character. And by the time the song releases, hopefully then there's a relation to what this song is actually about. But even if you just like the song stand alone as a song, then hopefully you can enjoy it that way as well. But if you've got 3 videos, a trilogy of stories that you can watch on YouTube that tie into this
establishing a character.
Right. So now you've kind of got something you can hold on to, I think. And it's fun for me and Old Cracker to come up with these ideas.
Well, we truly believe this is going to be a legend. And so you always have the very beginning of the legend, you know? And so it was just, you know, of us telling these stories, because each song tells a story of cryptid that's going to be involved in, you know, because the earth is getting ready to be overrun, taken over by aliens, you know? So we need somehow to unite, you know, and that's one thing that we're trying to definitely, you know, push with this and let people be aware, you know. So the world needs all the help it can get.
That's very true. And in fact, that Mothman was one of the first videos that I saw. And talking about the way the storytelling and the style of music, if somebody were to ask you, which I'm going to ask you, what would best define the style and presentation of your music? I know you guys are metal guys, but sometimes there are other styles that influence you, what you play. So how would you best describe what Moon Mulligan plays?
So I guess it kind of a mixture of a few things, like you said. It's metal, but it's, you know, and I consider myself to be a metal fan, but I couldn't go through the tree of subgenres and tell you and classify every band into. I'm not that much of a metal nerd, right? And no offense if anyone is, that's cool. But I grew up on Black Sabbath. I grew up on Leonard Skinner. I grew up on 80s and 90s country, you know, and so with that, and then when I grew up a little bit older, I got into like new metal and stuff. So there's a mixture of influences, I guess, and I guess the best way to describe a lot of the stuff that we're putting out would be sort of a, I guess, swampy, sludgy doom metal, I guess would be the best way to describe it.
Yep.
But with vocals, I think the Old Cracker could probably give you some more insight on that. Cause,
well, you know, it's pretty much exactly that. You know what I'm saying? We're, but I would say Americana first. So Americana, I do think that we have something that spreads all that. But then, of course, we're going to jump. So we're going to go Americana right into, you know, Southern, between Southern metal, Southern rock. That, you know, it's something that we've always talked about. You know, from where we're from, this, you know, it's just a deal, and we like it. Leonard Skinner, you know what I'm saying? Leonard Skinner is in both of our vocabularies because this is, you know, that type of deal. You know, so being born in Jacksonville and growing up in Michigan, I remember walking into my brother's bedroom and I saw this poster on the wall, Leonard Skinner, right? And it was like their skull poster. And I was like, what the fuck is Leonard Skinner? I never even heard a name like that before. I'm like, what the fuck is Leonard Skinner? And fucking, you know, then open the whole door. Hey, fat fella with the hair colored yellow, what you trying to prove? So, you know, but I just love that. So that's what it is. So let's go with Americana, Southern sludge for sure.
Yeah, and you can tell it's a. And I don't mean this to sound bad. It's a very dirty sound, which is very it's a beautiful thing.
Nice. Thank you. That's
yeah,
right.
No,
right, Patrick. That's what we want. I come from a little bit more of a death in black metal background as far as my metal band, and so do a lot of like higher type stuff, whereas doom is all like dirty and down, and like my guys would never really get that dirty and down, you know. So Patrick gets fucking dirty and down, and so let me unleash a little bit on that type of my vocals, and so I love it, you know, because I could just get, I mean, that's what it is. And if you know, doom, sludge, stoner, it's definitely a little bit more that deal. There is going to be some death, tad bit of black thrown in there, but it's truly more about a doom sludge type deal, which is like crazy, you know. People just get stoned and listen to our shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because in order, and I think it translates very well because of the subject matter you guys cover in your songs and the stories you tell. I'll ask this: where did the interest of cryptids creep into the music? Because was it something that you were interested in back when you were growing up? Did you have any experiences like this? Any sightings that influenced you to write about this subject?
Well, me actually, no. I grew up in a rural area where I live to this day, in the South, and you know, there's always you know, all kinds of different legends and things you hear about without ever actually seeing it. I've never actually had an experience. I listen to a lot of podcasts that you know talk about it and these things, Dogman, Sasquatch, ghost stories, stuff like that. I am still very interested in the subject, but I have had a couple of what I believe to be paranormal experiences in my life, but never with a cryptid. But no, I think the idea for the music was always there. I think I kind of wanted to do something in that vein because that's just something that I'm interested in musically, and it's honestly I'm not that capable as a guitar player, to be honest with you, but a lot of the stuff that we can play can still be done, even you know if you're not very good. But it's still really heavy and people are into it, and that's kind of the vibe that you go for. But I think with the cryptid thing, that just sort of I'm not sure how that came about actually. It was an idea that I had already had before I pitched it to Old Cracker, but he certainly has, I mean, helped me evolve it into what it's becoming, which I appreciate his insight and his art.
So, my very first song is Old Cracker. I wrote a song called Where in the Hell's Palatka, and Palatka is very well known for a skunk ape called the Barden Booger. So I lived in a little sub town outside of Palatka called Barden, and this skunk ape ran the woods of Barden. So I put this song out 20 years before me. This old couple, this guy played little dive bars around Palatka. He had a song about the Barden Booger. There's two little grocery stores coming out to my place. You know, pictures on the wall, people hearing them scream, telling stories. And I never saw it, but I want to believe I do believe it because I'm an outdoorsman. And for sure there is skunk apes, Bigfoots. They exist. You know, there's a whole bunch of ways they could be. Are they aliens? Are they shapeshifters? You know, but they are definitely there. You know, I just haven't been lucky enough to see one. You know, so I used to say, well, Cracker used to set traps out I'd set big old traps out, set baited with a 12-pack of Budweiser because I wanted to get a breeding pair, but I never caught them. You know, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I 100% believe there's something out there. I mean, there's way too many people who have claimed to see these things, and you know, obviously, I think a lot of the if you were to look up a list of cryptids on the internet, I'm sure that most of them are sort of just little fun things that people have latched onto. But when it comes to something like the Dogman or the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, skunk ape, whatever you want to call them, whatever those creatures are, there's definitely something to that. There's no denying that. And you know,
and then Mothman, Mothman has been showing up. Mothman showed up for the beginning in Virginia with the bridge collapsing, all the way up to 9/11. You know,
right?
So we actually, between both of us, We are just a huge fan of Mothman. So this whole thing itself, he's our main deal. And what we really believe is that he comes from outer space, and he's an alien himself, you know.
Right, and
You
so
know?
like I have all these we have these theories about what I have theories about what I think they are and stuff, in terms of like just taking all of the encounter stories I've heard and kind of applying that as though that's evidence. That you can kind of put two and two together and come up with a theory. Everybody's kind of got a theory about what they are, but in terms of the Moon Mulligan content, we wanted to do something that hasn't been done with these characters. And I call them characters because that's just kind of how they're referred to in this context. But everybody knows about Mothman. There's always a version of that going around somewhere. There's all kinds of artwork of him, and people love Mothman. And we wanted to do something that still lines up with the folklore of the character, of the original sighting and the subsequent sightings and all of that in Point Pleasant and elsewhere. We wanted to put that into sort of our own kind of bucket, and sort of give it take the inspiration from that story and those stories and sort of build our own little like universe, sort of, I guess is the best way to describe it. Just sort of give it our own influence.
Demon angel from outer space.
And you did, because not only are you bringing, not reinventing Mothman, but you kind of making him more badass than it is. You also doing this. You're doing the same thing with Dogman, because
we
Dogman
love
story,
Dogman too.
and that one took a turn for something, because we're talking about a story about, I'm saying, a farmer that makes a deal with a creature, and then holy shit, something happens.
Right. And it's big in Michigan. Middle school, high school beginning high school years are spent in Michigan, and Dogman pretty huge in Michigan. So it was really cool. We have a little short that I tell the story in Holland, of a dog deal, So I love that part. I love to do the spoken word. We come up with our stories, and we tell the story, and then fucking he throws his riffs behind it, and you know what I'm saying. We just do these they're like little commercials, little deals of us just like, this is some shit we're gonna talk about with Moon Mulligan. But back to Dogman, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that he's next up. He's right up there. You know what I'm saying? He's pretty much going to be co-star with Mothman. Then we'll break down from there a couple different ways we're going with that. But the cool thing is the more and more cryptid stories that pop up, which we love. You know what I'm saying? Because we need an army of fucking goddamn cryptids, truly, to fucking save this world. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, so like he's talking about the idea, which isn't really, again, we're kind of, it's kind of hard to be sort of drip out content in a mysterious way and just see if people enjoy it, while also trying to keep a cohesive storyline. So it's not really in order or anything. It's, if you see the Dogman video that you're talking about, within that video, you get a little bit of music, you get some cool spoken word from Old Cracker, you get this story that we put together, and it's a few minutes long, but it introduces you to this character of the Dogman and where he came from in the context of the Moon Mulligan version. And so you can see the Dogman, like you were saying, he was an old man that was a farmer in the 1930s. Dust Bowl, Great Depression. He makes a deal with the devil in order to feed his family. In exchange for his freedom as a human, he now becomes the Dogman. So you can watch that unfold in this video. And of course, that's not going to be the last time you see the Dogman. He's going to have his own song. He'll show up with Mothman somewhere, if we can figure that out. So with the way I kind of explained it to Old Cracker when we first we're talking about doing this, I was like, well, basically think of it as like the Cryptid Avengers. So you've got all these different characters with their own video, and maybe at some point you'll see like their paths coexist. Maybe they'll show up together. And so that's another thing we have an idea about, like he was talking about with the aliens. So we do have a song that is going to be about an alien attack, and we'll do videos on that as well. And then you'll kind of understand what the Mothman is up to now, what the skunk ape is up to now. We have the Kraken, which honestly, the Kraken video, which is our latest. That one's actually based on. I don't mean to cut off your line of questioning, if we. but that one actually has a little bit of personal touch because Old Cracker is actually a pirate.
Yes,
you didn't know that, and so the Old Cracker character that shows up in the Kraken is actually a version that's based on him. So it's a little bit of an inside joke, I guess, there, but also a tie into the legend of Old Cracker.
And so, hey, Diego, the same thing is thank you, because that's what it is. We hope somebody jumps down the rabbit hole, and if you jump down the rabbit hole, you can check out this show, and you can hear a little bit of the very, very beginning of this, because that's what it is. We love document. We're storytellers. We want to document this shit, and you're doing that. You hit us, man. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? Because we get to document this shit and say, hey, y'all, this is how it really, truly fucking started, Yeah, not only is our shit cool, but our story's pretty fucking cool, too, It
is interesting because I was talking to y'all the pre-interview and how I love what you guys are doing and how you guys are doing the mystery behind Moon Mulligan. So I did this. When I go to work, I can't log into my accounts, but I can do a random search on YouTube for Moon Mulligan, and something popped up that wasn't exactly Moon Mulligan, because I like to get to the origins of the name. So I put in Moon Mulligan, and then something came up as an old guy from the 1940s or 57, an old guitar player, country western, had the whole gear. He looked great, but it was Moon Mulligan, Gen. So that's on YouTube's fault on that one. But once I logged into Moon Mulligan, and I'm cranking this at work, I mean, it makes the day go by better. So with that being said, what is the origin? Where did the name Moon Mulligan spawn from?
Oh, that's a really good question, actually. So when I was a kid, there were several occasions where my grandmother would say the Moon Mulligan man is going to get you, right? And awesome. I vividly remember, and this is a story, this Moon Mulligan creature, which again I've actually asked my aunts and uncles about it. Since then, more recently, I've actually asked my grandma a long time ago, shortly after that, she'd been talking about the Moon Mulligan man. And never really got a straight answer. And I guess it was just something that was, again, one of those things, and I'm not 100% sure who coined the term or who came up with it or where it actually came from, but that was just what my grandma and family members would, I guess, apply to the boogeyman. And I don't know what it is. I don't know where it comes from. I've Googled it. The only thing I can find is that guy you're talking about, Moon Mulligan.
Yes.
And so that was like some kind of musician. But no, it doesn't have anything to do with him. But I do find it interesting that that's the only thing close to it when you search.
And it's funny. That's what pops up. So that pops up first, and then maybe a couple down to get to us, kind of stuff. But we keep driving it. We'll get our stuff up there with it, kind of deal, which is funny. But once Patrick told me that story, man, I was sold on Moon Mulligan. Hook line. If Mama said it, if Grandma said it, you know what? That's all that really matters, and that truly is it. And that's true storytelling. Mom and Grandma told me, and so what a great fit.
I always thought that would be a cool band name, as I
badass.
It is.
And yeah, people don't like it. We don't. So, okay, then you got to mess with fan bases, and so that's sort of the thing, trying to figure out, throwing the stuff at what we do, and, so definitely metal, stoner, doom, that's our little. That's where we're pretty much fitting in.
Yeah, and I
But
mean,
it's great.
again,
It's great to catch the attention of somebody like you that said, really, metal's probably not your first music you listen to. You know what I'm saying? But we caught your attention to fucking bring you in enough.
Yep.
Check it out, and you know what? If you are only fan, you know what? Thank you, sir. Amen. For me, that's all I need. All I need is one fan. That's it. I'm cool. I can throw down to anybody. You know. So
Well,
thank you.
you got me already, and I know the listeners will be fans of you too. Interesting because it's one of those things that, and you guys have been around for a while too, especially in the music industry, when you see a band that immediately catches your attention, and it's one of those things that it sticks out, but not many people know about it, and then it slowly builds, and it kind of becomes a more street level, and then more accepted by new fans. So, what you're doing, especially now in the age where cryptids seem to be more noticeable and more sightings are going around, I think Moon Mulligan is the right band for the right time. What do you think?
Well, I definitely appreciate that. It was never an idea to get on any kind of bandwagon or to join any specific subgroup of the internet. It was more just we're interested in these things. A lot of people write songs about their emotions, their hate, their anger, their love, whatever. We wanted to write music about Power Ranger Mothman. You know what I mean? So, and that's just something that came about, and I think a lot of that has to do with just not really trying to do anything that, not really putting, I guess, a hard limit on yourself in terms of creativity, in terms of, like, we need to make it like this. It has to be this way. Instead, it's what came out turned out pretty cool, and let's roll with it. And that's kind of what we're doing with it musically. The songs are going to be there in terms of the guitar riffs and the vocals and everything. It may not be for everyone, but that's not why we're doing it. Just because we just want to create and we just want to be able to say that we made this. This is what we do for fun. So that's pretty much, I guess. I definitely do, to answer your question, I definitely do want to get more into the doing shows like yours and things like that. I am very interested, and we actually have talked about doing a show a little bit here and there on our own YouTube channel, but if we get a chance we might do that. I definitely want to, but no, I mean, yeah, just hanging out with you, meeting you, like listening to some of your shows over the past few weeks, and just like you have really interesting people on this show, and I mean, we're honored to be among those, among that list for sure, because I was listening to some author you had on the other day, and that was like some pretty interesting stuff. So it's cool, man.
No, I appreciate it. Actually, the pleasure's all on this side of the table to rob that line from that movie. But here's the thing, though, with Moon Mulligan, I think you're hitting on something. And if we're going to go back, as I know, you're talking about the different kind of cryptids, from the creative process of this, and I know we talk about Mothman, Dogman, and the Kraken, the most recent video out right now. How do you know which cryptid or subject matter to choose from, and how do you expand from there?
Well, that's interesting too, because when it came to the music, we didn't really have a specific order that we wanted to do them. I think the first one I ever sent him ended up being the Skinwalker. And the Skinwalker song, that was the first one that we actually wrote. But that's not, we haven't even done any videos for that one yet. So you can hear snippets of it out there in the videos on the TikTok or YouTube or whatever. But that song, we haven't even done an origin story for that character yet. So it's kind of weird how we decide to do it. Sometimes I'll just text Old Cracker and say, we're doing Skunk Ape next, right? And then that's what we're on now for the next month or so. We're looking at Skunk Ape stuff. We're reading Skunk Ape stories online. Where I'm messing around on guitar with that creature, sort of on the in the lab, just sort of on the mind when I'm writing stuff. And that doesn't necessarily change the music at all, but just good to kind of be like, if would this go well with a skunk ape type of video or
And
something.
that's how it's so awesome is so he'll hit me, and I happen to work at this fucking most haunted hotel, which is awesome for fucking writing. And I get to walk around this place, and I write a lot of lyrics. This whole album, I pretty much have walked around this hotel and wrote these lyrics. And so he gives me this deal, and I figure what kind of cryptids it fits into it. So I love cryptids. I love every cryptid that's there. I believe in it. I truly like it. And so he hits me with this, and it's like bam. And then we're writing the story about that, and just like nailing it and loving it and throwing it on there fucking heavy and aggressive and telling the cryptid story like how we want to tell it.
And with the stories and the videos, I see a lot of great artwork, and these characters look beautiful. So who's generating these images? Are you guys the
Patrick's
artists behind it?
nailing it. Patrick's
Yeah.
nailing it.
I'd
Patrick's
love to
fucking
say
nailing it.
so actually, yeah, just being transparent here, that's actually something that's an issue I'm gonna have to get through. Right now I've been mostly using for the videos AI artwork, which I don't really like to do. And it's one I do believe
But we're
that
capturing this. The other thing is, I like we're capturing this moment. Maybe whatever. Well, this is like Diago. You talked about like seeing something and knowing something's going on. So me and you are a little bit older than Patrick, man. So we've seen a couple cycles go through. This is a new cycle that's going to be there, so we might as well do it, because if not, everybody else will be doing it anyways.
Yeah.
So let's just jump on it a little bit. But he knows how to tell it to do what to do. That's telling our story. So he, by him doing it, it's made a zero in. Like he said, everything's just the
yeah, I mean, if
AI
I
and
could,
shit
if I could
has
draw,
zeroed
if
in
I
on the
could
story.
paint, I
Yeah,
100% would rather create it myself. That's the thing. Like the AI, like he was saying, it's like it or not, it's here.
yeah.
And I know that there's a lot of stuff been going around AI music. It'll never. There's always going to be people that are creating. I don't think that there will ever be robots that can create anything new. I think you can throw this style, this artist style on top of this one, and you can kind of make a conglomerate of music notes and things, but I don't think you can ever actually, there's no soul in it, and that same goes for images. I think that the images that I've generated with the AI for those videos, again, it's mostly about the music and the story. So if I could pay artists to do exactly what I want, not only would it be so much better, but it would be great to support an artist. But unfortunately, I don't, make that kind of money.
And that
Very
fits us,
few
and
people
that fits us
do.
really well.
But what I have learned about it is very interesting when you start going down the AI sort of train. You end up with something that is entirely different than what you originally envisioned. And that's kind of cool and creative, I think, in its own way, even if it is, a computer program doing it. I think it still kind of adds to the creative process a little bit, because I didn't originally intend for the Mothman thing to be like a Super Sentai Power Ranger style. Originally, he was going to be like a generic, like comic book superhero. But I think what we ended up doing, and again, like I will 100% in the future, we have big plans for these characters. So in the future, there will for sure be original artwork done in the style of these concepts that we've generated. But and I think that there's going to be a whole lot of stuff like that. Hopefully, once we get more idea of what is concrete, what they're going to end up being. Because again, with the AI, you can only get as close as it can get you in terms of what. So if you want to create a character, you can sort of give it ideas. It's going to steal from other people, other art, already established art, and it's going to put something together. But that can still inspire you, and I think that's kind of cool. So what will end up being with those characters, the videos aren't the final product of the design, but just I wanted to add some visual to them, and I think it turned out pretty cool having the video alongside it.
So we both are true comic book fans too, so that ties into that. So comic books, superheroes are drawn by a whole bunch of different artists. You know, and so you get Mothman drawn so many ways, Dogman drawn so many ways. It's cool, and that's what we're definitely loving and pushing.
Yeah, I'm totally not against using AI because I'll tell you, because I can really relate to what you guys are doing in a way. Because in a way, with me here, I'm a one-man band. I do the editing, I do the recording, I do the marketing, I do this, I do that, and I am not shy from using AI technology as well. You almost kind of have to in order to stay in budget.
Exactly.
So I completely understand.
But on the flip side of it,
Yeah.
we're truly catching a moment, and if we catch the moment right, and all power to everybody else that catches the moment right. So,
Yeah, I'm with, and like Diego's saying, like you almost have to
exactly.
use stock footage.
Yes.
Or now with the AI, the tools are. I know a lot of people are against it. I'm certainly against it in terms of the context of like the Terminator movies. Like I think that's a horrible thing. It shouldn't be. But the fact that we can punch in some ideas into a computer and it will generate us an image or a sound.
It's crazy.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, and I think that it's very dangerous in terms of, and this is going down our more like conspiracy theory sort of route, but I definitely think that it's been being used a lot longer than we have known about it, and I certainly question everything now, and I think that everybody should, because even on social media now, in the present day, there's so much misinformation, and that's what they're calling it, misinformation. But really, it's just made up, and it could be a video. And that's the thing that I think that is scary about, we're talking about Sasquatch sightings and stuff like that. If someone were to release a 1080p 4K footage of one of these creatures, it would be so easy for people to say, well, that's AI. And it could be real, or it could be AI, and we'll never know. And that's kind of the fear that we should have toward this. But I think using it for artistic purposes, like you said, especially when, I'd love to pay someone to do all my art for me, and eventually I would like to get to the point where I can. But the amount that we're doing, the amount of visuals that we need for these videos, it just unfortunately doesn't work that way. I don't have the money to hire someone to do original art, but I get it. I think it is a fun tool, and I don't think people should be as aggressive against it as they are, I think, right now. But
true artists should be able to use this to their advantage. A true dude that can really paint pictures. I definitely don't, can do whatever to make him better at what he does.
Yeah, and I have seen people selling AI generated art like on Twitter and stuff, and I think that that's ridiculous. And if you buy an AI art piece from someone, you should make better decisions. I mean, realistically, I think that. But if they're gonna get that money, they're gonna do it regardless. If there's people willing to pay for it, then there's people that's gonna sell it. And I think it's really stupid to take credit for something that you really, there is sort of a process when it comes to generating prompts for this stuff, but it's not nearly as time consuming or as skilled as actually being able to draw or paint or something. And so I think people are taking advantage of it in that way. But again, once this technology becomes more, and it is very quickly becoming more available, then those people will get left in the dust once everybody and their mom can download an app on their phone and use an AI art generator.
Right.
That those people that are charging $100 for AI art commissions with 6 fingers on each hand and stuff, those people are going to not have any clients anymore. So we don't really have to worry about those people, I don't think. Not for very much longer.
No, it's one of those things with AI. It's, like I said, we use it. I use it, of course. But when I generate images, I'm not signing and said I drew it. Everybody knows I can't draw with the shit anyway. But it's a tool that is necessary for this time right now.
Yeah.
And talking about the videos and the songs you're playing, so the most recent one's the Kraken. No Cracker, he's out there doing his thing. What's next? What's the next one you're going to be coming out with?
Well, that's a good question. What do you think?
I think we're going Skunk Ape.
Skunk Ape. Yeah, so the cool thing about Sasquatch is that there's so many different, and as you know, there's so many different versions of Sasquatch.
And this is why we know that he's there. He's there everywhere.
Based on his region, you've got all these different versions of basically the same thing, upright or crawling, humanoid, hairy dude, 6 to 10 feet tall, So there might be different colors, they might have different builds or whatever, different, even different sounds they make. But that's kind of the cool thing about that is Skunk Ape is one that's sort of that's the skunk. The Skunk Ape is the Sasquatch here, where we live. And so I know you've got, the traditional Sasquatches in different areas and things like that. But for us, the Skunk Ape is the one here in Florida, South Georgia, and swamps. And I think that one's going to be the one we focus on first. And we can sort of zero in on that version. And we can...
Okay, so
later we can do another type of Sasquatch,
I'm gonna give you some gold. I think this is whatever. This, like I said, the rabbit hole. You come down the rabbit hole to find out Moon Mulligan. We're gonna have a couple Sasquatch brothers. I think our story is gonna be based on a pair of twin Sasquatch brothers, which is crazy in itself.
No, I like it. So with the Sasquatch brothers, and we talk about Mothman and the Kraken. It's interesting because a lot of these songs take life on its own. Did you ever think that the Moon Mulligan, the brand itself, that would come to life the way it has so far?
Well, hopefully, I actually know. I never, I guess when we first started putting music together, we actually didn't plan to do any of this. The idea was I was putting together some demo ideas. I actually sent them to a couple different people that I knew, and no one really jumped on the idea as enthusiastically as old Cracker did. And so I knew then, I was like, well, this is the one this is what we're going to do. This is the guy I'm working with because he gets it. And then we started talking about maybe we have a sort of a backstory behind every song. We can make each song about a different creature or something, And I had originally written a song about Sasquatch, and that was actually the first one that I did for what this project would become. But that one has actually been shelved for the moment because I think we might use that one for something else. But originally, yeah, the idea was I'm going to write a song about Sasquatch, and we ended up working around and starting to do some other things. Aliens, we wanted to do that. We wanted to do Dogman. We wanted to do Skinwalker. We wanted to do some form of Sasquatch still. We wanted to do the Kraken. And so I thought maybe, there's no shortage of creatures that you can take inspiration from. And right now, we actually had to kind of stop ourselves working on the music because the songs were coming too fast and we were unable to keep up, to be honest with you. It's not good to work on so many different things at once. And so we kind of had to put a limit on ourselves. Let's work on these 6 or 7 different tracks and let's put out some content related to them. And yeah, I mean, what it became or what it is becoming right now is just sort of the YouTube channel, which is going to be kind of the meat of the storytelling. And I know I never planned on making videos like that, but we ended up doing that, and it's fun. So I think we'll keep doing that.
I had no idea at all, but he sent me this stuff and heavy stuff I had wanted to do, and it just inspired me. And I think I threw down some of the best vocals I've done to date. We'll do final takes on everything, but for me to catch the raw energy that I caught when he sent me this shit and how I record and send it back to him, I caught a certain energy, and I'm gonna go with that. And we'll go back to, we did a pre-interview. We were talking about our lives, and I played these first two songs that Patrick sent to me with him and them to my wife, and her face said it all, and that made, I'm a different stage in the game. I'm a fucking grandpa, so I'm a different stage in this game, but for that to be, that's all the support I need. Just like I said, even you, just you. That's all I need to do my end of this storytelling, and I get to scream it and yell it and growl it, and that part I didn't know it was going to get to this extreme. But here we are doing a podcast about it, So thank you, because
I'm glad it did. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But
yeah.
Let me throw my theory out there, because it's my brain keeps going as you guys were talking, because we're coming up on the clock. So before we go,
yep.
The spirit of Moon Mulligan, we're talking about Grandma talking about it back in the old days. I'm gonna throw this theory out at you. You can tell me if I'm full of shit or not. I think the spirit of Moon Mulligan is real, and it was just waiting for the right two entities to come together to bring the story to life, to give it another, another chance to be out in the universe, to present itself.
Yeah, I mean, you may be onto something, man.
No, I already know that, right? So I've got a little bit of a native background, not me myself, but I've been brought to natives, man. They all say it would be some kind of medicine man, some kind of this, some kind of that, blah, 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 blah. But their words are important. Their words mean something. It all goes back to a legend, and it goes to that. And that's the thing. Maybe that's it. This is the deal, to get that word out there, to get Mom's word out there, to get Grandma's word out there. It was said. It was spoken into this world. We all know how important it is what Mom and Grandma said. So maybe there is something to it. Yeah, on the flip side of it, obviously there is. Here we are. We just did it. We just did a whole show on it, man. So you definitely are onto something, man.
Hell yeah, my friends. And now for the listeners, let's find out that want to know more about Moon Mulligan, they want to know more of the Dog Man, they want to know more about Mothman. Where can they find all this awesome stuff at?
Well, you can check us out on YouTube. Moon Mulligan is the channel name. We are on TikTok, though we have been banned on TikTok once.
Don't worry about TikTok, man.
It's on there right now. It's up. And then we are also on X. I think the handle is MoonxMulligan. And then we've also got Instagram. I believe it's also MoonxMulligan. I can send you all the links, I'm sure. Yeah, and then we do have Facebook as well, if you still use that. Moon.Mulligan on Instagram, sorry. But yeah, most of the stuff will be up on YouTube unless something changes. Oh, we're also on Rumble, although I don't know how to use that website.
That's okay. It's a learning curve too, but you'll get it, man. I'm also on there too. It's very slow,
cool,
but it's gonna be rewarding at the end.
Cool.
No worries.
I like
Thank you
I
on
just
that.
haven't used it.
I'd love to bring you back later this year, because I know the legend of Moon Mulligan, the spirit, is just going to keep growing. I'd love to bring you back later this year, because I know by then you'll have another set of songs that we can all talk about, and I'm going to really play them really loud at work, and they're going to enjoy it, because they're going to make them enjoy it.
Hell yeah, man. Diego, thank you, sir.
Definitely be back, man. We love it.
Thank you, my friend. This has been another excellent episode of Let's Find Out with Diego. Please check us out on all our social media pages as well as on YouTube, and we're also on Rumble. Like, share, and subscribe. Also, Let's Find Out is now on KGRA Digital Broadcasting. Catch the show on Saturdays at 2 a.m. For more information, please visit kgradb.com. That's kgradb.com. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Until next time, my friends.
This is Moon Mulligan.
Let's find out with Diego, the power of Diego Mania! All content for Let's Find Out is property of CoHostDiego and is served directly from our servers with no modification, redirects, or rehosting. All celebrity impersonators are paid performers. The impersonated celebrities do not endorse or promote any views or opinions expressed by our guests, CoHostDiego, or Let's Find Out. The information shared on Let's Find Out is provided on an as-is basis, with no guarantees of completeness, accuracy, usefulness, or timeliness.